This video will give you the keys to successfully set up and connect a community with the CAPAC Smart Access Hub and myQ. We'll break the process down into 3 parts: surveying the site, checking the existing access control system on site, and setting up the community facility database, preconfiguring the CAPAC, then installing the CAPAC at the job site. This video is intended for demonstration purposes only. The procedures demonstrated should only be performed by trained professional installers and service technicians. Safe operation and servicing requires that you follow all instructions and safety advisories found in the manual. To locate a trained professional installer or service technician, go to liftmaster.com/locate-a-dealer. Let's dive in. One of the most important things you must do to ensure a successful community installation is to talk to the IT team or whoever is responsible for the network on site. They need to ensure their network is configured to allow our systems to transmit and receive data. Go to the partner portal at partner.liftmaster.com and download and print the site survey form. This tool will become your best friend as you gather information and confirm the site is properly set up. For each installed CAPAC Smart Access Hub, LiftMaster recommends a minimum upload speed of 1 megabit per second. This means an installation with 2 Smart Access Hubs should plan to provide a minimum upload speed of 2 megabits per second. Additional bandwidth may be needed considering usage of other devices on the network like cameras and computers. Wi-Fi and high-speed wired internet are both acceptable methods for connecting the hub to the internet. Upgrading a phone line to DSL can be an acceptable type of high-speed wired internet. Cellular service is also available for use, integrated into the CAPAC directly. While a cellular connection is not part of the site's network, it is still good practice to inform the site's IT that the device will be installed and use a cellular network connection. For installations using static IP, work with the site IT to receive the following details: IP address, netmask, gateway, primary DNS, secondary DNS, and tertiary DNS. For Wi-Fi installations, make note of the network name and password. Cellular connectivity can be configured during the initial setup of the device if used. The internet connection must be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Network proximity is another consideration. For Ethernet connections, the hub location must be within 300 feet of the network switch or router. For both Wi-Fi and cellular connections, the signal strength must be sufficiently strong in the area. Wi-Fi extenders should be avoided because they introduce latency. As you walk through the job site, if the CAPAC will be used to control LiftMaster gate operators, even if through an existing access control system, make sure the physical location meets UL 325 and ASTM F2200 requirements where these standards apply. The CAPAC requires a DC input of 6 to 24 volts at the appropriate amperage. See the manual for details. This can be supplied in several ways. External power supply, which requires a dedicated 120-volt outlet rated for 10 amps, or power supplied from a gate operator's accessory power terminal. This is your opportunity to identify the gates, doors, and other devices that the CAPAC will be controlling or communicating with. In particular, if there is an access control system, you'll need access to be able to add credentials. This may require you to work with IT or administrative staff, so be sure to get their contact information. Work with the community manager to obtain a diagram of the community layout. This will assist in creating the plan for the devices that need to be installed. In addition to the community layout, work with the community manager to obtain the contact information for all the people who will be added to the database, including residents, workers, managers, and the like. Visiting the site also allows you to identify tools and other items you may need on the day of installation. After concluding the site survey and prior to arrival for installation, work with the community manager to make sure all required wiring is routed. Power wiring and control wiring need to be routed through separate conduit. We will demonstrate use of the CAPAC's built-in cellular signal. This demo setup consists of our CSL24UL and the EL2000 access control system. Before we get started setting up the community database, you will need the CP number for the hub. Unpack the hub and set aside the provided paddle antennae. Write down the CP number from the label on the side. Open a browser and head to account.myq.com. You'll need to do a few things. They include adding the community as a facility, which includes setting up the subscription, adding the community manager as the facility manager or owner, adding all the residents and other people who will have access to the facility. If connecting to an existing access control system, decide on a weekend output credential. And finally, updating your contact information in the facility. This will allow you to test that everything is set up properly after you install the hub. You will need to either add a weekend output credential or configure the relay output. Let's get familiar with some of the most important screens. Click the plus sign to add a facility. When creating a new facility, several payment options are available. You may use your LiftMaster account number or choose payment via ACH or credit card. If you want to set up a LiftMaster account, click the Create New Account Number button to begin the credit application process. It may take a few days to receive your account number. On the pop-up window, click Create Facility. Select Community. Click Next. Fill in all the required information wherever you see a red asterisk. Enter the details for the facility manager. Click Next. Select the payment method. For this demonstration, we'll select Account. Click Next. Click Create Facility. Click on your name and select Billing from the menu. Here, you will choose the myQ Community CAPAC only plan subscription that will be billed either monthly or yearly. Plans are based on the type of controller or hub and the number of access points they are meant to control. Select the total number of access points that all of your smart access hubs will control. In this case, we are adding one access point that is controlled by the CAPAC. The myQ Community app will be used by residents to permit access to the main gate operator. On the billing page, check the box for myQ Community app license. Click the box and enter the number of licenses needed. Please note that resident video calling will not be available through the myQ Community app through the CAPAC Smart Access Hub. Click Proceed to Checkout. Edit the payment details or the billing address as needed. Then, click Activate Subscription. Click Add Devices. You'll return to the device management screen with a message prompting you to add a device with your new myQ subscription. Click Add Now. Click on Add Devices and select the CAPAC on screen. Enter the CP number for the Smart Access Hub. This is the number you wrote down from the label when you opened the controller. Enter a name for the Smart Access Hub. Click Save. Click Next. On the pop-up window for Device Ports Configuration, click Set up Device Ports. Click Activate Cellular Subscription. On the pop-up window, click Activate. myQ will now prepare itself to communicate to the SIM card in the CAPAC. Once prepared, myQ will display the instructions for completing the process, but we will be going through this process later in our pre-configuration. Click Next to continue to set up the CAPAC in myQ. A window will appear asking if you'd like to set up the device ports on the CAPAC. Click Set up Device Ports to begin. While we will only be using the first weekend output, labeled as Weekend 1, there is the option to wire directly to a device via two dry contact relay terminals. Navigate to the Weekend 1 tab and click on Setup. This Weekend1 output will be for our front gate, so we will assign this name to the access point in the Weekend Setup window and click Next. Here, we will assign a standard 26-bit credential number with an agreed-upon facility code. Our site does not use offsets for their existing credentials, so we will simply say 0 for this portion. Click Next to save this configuration. Now let's add people, starting with the Community Manager. Click to expand the menu sidebar. Click People. Click Add Person. Fill in the required fields. Choose the role of Facility Manager or Facility Owner. A Facility Owner has the control to edit all database information related to the facility, including billing. A Facility Manager can edit almost everything except for the facility itself, the permissions for roles, and they can't view billing information. Enter the email address. Select Send myQ Smart Access Invite. The Community Manager will get an email with instructions on what they need to do next. Fill in the address, the information that should appear in the directory for the individual, and assign credentials. Be sure to add the individual to an access group. There are 3 default groups: Resident, Staff, and Vendor. Click Save. Add the rest of the people to the database. There are 3 roles: Dealer Techs, who help set up the community facility, or who may need to provide support. Residents, people who live in the community and who will be using the myQ community app. And Access Managers, security personnel or community administrators who need to update user information in the database. Other users who don't require myQ access, such as landscapers or maintenance people and vendors, do not need to have a role assigned. You will also need to check the box to invite residents to use the myQ community app. The support team at LiftMaster is able to assist with bulk loading resident data to the community database. For details, contact us at the number on the screen. Lastly, update your own profile in the facility. In order to test the myQ community app, navigate to your profile and locate the Mobile App Invite section under Invitations, then click Send. On the pop-up window, click Send Invite. You'll complete the rest of the database setup when you open the CAPAC. Now, let's get the myQ community app set up. Check your email for an invitation to myQ Community. Tap the App Store link, and you will be taken to the myQ Community app. Tap Get. Tap Open. If you already have an account, choose Log In. Otherwise, choose Create Account. Select your country. Agree to the terms. Enter your name. Enter your email. Create a password. Verify your email by entering the code you received. Enter the access code sent via the email invite. Enter your address. Verify your phone number. Enter the code that was sent to your phone. To join the community, tap Accept Invitation. We recommend pre-configuring the CAPAC at your workshop prior to installing it at the job site. This allows you to set up and provision the cellular connection or test Wi-Fi Ethernet network connectivity, connection to the facility, and setting up Weekend output in myQ. Add this credential to the database of the existing access control system, and verify that the myQ community app communicates to the CAPAC. Here's what you'll need at your workshop to pre-configure the CAPAC. An Ethernet or Wi-Fi network connection if you're not using the CAPAC's built-in cellular. A mobile device and the myQ community app. A computer with internet access. A myQ account with your dealer owner or dealer technician login credentials. Let's talk about what comes in the box. The system includes the CAPAC Smart Access Hub, 2 paddle antennas. Let's start with the power wiring. You'll power the CAPAC using one or the other of 2 power connectors, but not both. When pre-configuring the CAPAC in your workshop, we recommend powering it the same way you will at the job site. If the job site has an AC outlet, use this type of power supply, which will be wired directly to the power input connector here. If you will be using accessory power from a gate operator, test the setup using this style of power supply. That's what we will use for this demonstration. Notice the markings showing GND and 12 volt to 24 volt and observe the orientation of the terminal block. You need to make sure you connect wires for the correct polarity. Remove the terminal block. Loosen the screws in the terminal block. Insert the red wire into the terminal block hole that aligns with the plus terminal on the board. Insert the black wire into the other hole. Tighten the screws to secure the wires. Reattach the terminal block to the power input connector, making sure the red wire aligns to the 12 volt to 24 volt terminal and the black wire aligns to the GND terminal. Returning to our pre-configuration, plug in the DC power supply and we should see a solid blue power LED turn on. For this demonstration, we'll be using a cellular connection for the CAPAC. Begin by installing the 2 paddle antennas and move them into the recommended perpendicular orientation. Locate the Reset Learn button. To reset the CAPAC, use a paperclip to press and hold the reset button for 5 seconds, then release. The light will remain solid blue. To initiate the network connection, press and hold the reset button for 2 seconds, then release. The green Internet connectivity LED will begin to flash. During setup, this LED flashing means it is broadcasting a Wi-Fi network to continue the configuration process. On your mobile device, go into your Wi-Fi settings and join the myQ prefix network. Note that the device may alert you that this network has no Internet connectivity. This is okay, as the Wi-Fi network is just for configuring the CAPAC. Once connected, open a web browser and navigate to either setup.myqdevice.com or 192.168.1.1. On the Welcome page that opens, press the Start button. On the Network Type page, select Cellular and press Next. The next page will let you know that the cellular network connection is setting itself up from the CAPAC. The green Internet connectivity LED will change from flashing to pulsating while it provisions the cellular signal. When the green Internet connectivity LED changes from pulsating to solid, the cellular network has completed the provisioning process and the CAPAC is online. On your mobile device, open the myQ Community app. Next, test granting yourself access using Hold to Open in the app. This is similar to granting access using a remote control. On the app, press Hold to Open on the front gate. The Weekend 1 LED should turn on for 5 seconds. Now that we know that our cellular connection is set up and that the myQ Community app triggers the Weekend 1 terminal, we will add the 26-bit credential to the existing access control system. Disconnect power to the Smart Access Hub and prepare it for transportation to the installation site. We will continue our demonstration using this setup to represent the job site. As you learned during the site survey and preparation, the CAPAC installation can require a variety of wires, including power, relay connections, internet connection, and a suitable ground connection. When you arrive at the job site, make sure these wires are available and ready for connection. If mounted outside, the CAPAC needs to be secured in a NEMA enclosure. To prevent injury or damage while working with incoming power, it is best to power down the gate operator that will be powering the CAPAC, as well as the existing access control system. Locate the power wires coming from the LiftMaster gate operator's accessory power terminal. As previously discussed, secure the positive wire of our accessory power wires into the 12-volt to 24-volt terminal. Secure the negative wire of our accessory power wires into the GND terminal. Locate an available WIGN terminal on the existing access control system. If wiring is not already available, run suitable wires from the Data 1, Data 0, and COM GND terminals at the existing access control system to the NEMA box holding the CAPAC. At the CAPAC, locate the WIGN 1 terminal and remove the terminal block. Wire the Data 1, Data 0, and COM GND from the existing access control system to the appropriate screw terminal in the block. Reinstall the WIGN 1 terminal block to the CAPAC. Power on the LiftMaster gate operator and observe the LEDs on the CAPAC. We want to see the blue power LED turn on solid and the green Internet connectivity LED begin to flash. When fully booted up, the green Internet connectivity LED should be solid green when the signal is strong. It is possible that once the Internet connectivity LED show up as amber or red. Amber indicates a moderately weak signal from Wi-Fi or cellular. This can still be used, but may need to be investigated should connectivity issues arise. Red indicates that the connection failed or a severely weak signal that is not usable. You may consider moving the unit or adding an external cellular antenna extension kit. Should you experience an amber or red color radio LED on a Wi-Fi network, work with the site's IT to determine the cause and resolve the connectivity issues. Connectivity issues experienced on a cellular connection will need to be troubleshot with LiftMaster's technical support team. Ensure that the roadway is clear and open the myQ Community app on your mobile device. Within the myQ Community app, tap and hold on the front gate and ensure that the WIGN 1 LED turns on. If the standard 26-bit credential programmed in myQ as the WIGN output was correctly added to the existing Access Control Systems database, this should result in an activation of the LiftMaster gate operator. Other installations may require typical dry contact relay wiring or supervised input circuits for security reasons. There are 2 relay output terminals that can be used to communicate directly with a gate operator or used with a maglock or door strike. The 2 input terminals are used for monitoring a circuit for security reasons, and these terminals can both report issues with the circuit via myQ and can be troubleshot via the input LEDs. Solid green on input 1 or input 2 means the input is not active and must first be configured in myQ. Once configured in myQ, the input 1 and input 2 LEDs can be used to determine the status of the circuit. If properly configured and detected, the input 1 or input 2 LEDs will flash green. If the input 1 or input 2 circuit is open, there will be a solid amber LED shown. If the input 1 or input 2 circuit is shorted, there will be a solid red LED shown. Before wrapping up, locate the Internet connectivity LED, which should currently be solid green. Should the CAPAC be seen while it is updating its firmware, this solid green LED will begin to flash a tricolor pattern of green, amber, and red. This is normal behavior, and the LED should return to solid green when the firmware update has completed. Once you've confirmed everything is working, don't forget to delete your test information from the facility, including revoking your myQ license for use by residents. The installation is complete. Be sure to set aside time to help the community manager to get up and running. For more detailed information, including wiring diagrams, please refer to the CAPAC installation manual or visit partner.liftmaster.com.